So nothing very unfamiliar. We're going to do, and sorry, the first version. So we're going to do a bit of rocking, and then we're going to do some of these ones where we rock with, first of all, our ankle on our thigh. So Sarah, I suggest you, obviously you do this one probably, which we will all do as well. So we do a bit of this. If it feels okay for you at this point, we'll fold in. This is optional. And then we'll all do a bit of this with both, with the knees, and then we'll also fold in here. And we'll do this on both sides, and then we'll shake our legs out. That's probably as much as I need to show you. And then we'll do a bit of rolling up through bridge pose. But first of all, we'll do a bit of tilting our knees and a bit of tilting our pelvis. So I think that's probably enough for you to know what you're doing. So lie down onto your backs and settle down. Make sure you're warm enough. Hi Mel, nice to see you. So make sure you're warm enough because it has got a little bit cooler. And I know none of us want to put our heating on at home. Yes, nice blanket, Sarah, good idea. So settle down onto your backs, and I think just let yourself arrive first of all. So lie however you're most comfortable. Could be your knees bent, it could be your legs long. And bring your hands to rest on the front of your body, just somewhere that helps you to, I suppose, to start to come to that sense of yourself. So if you've been focusing on other things in your life, coming to this simplicity of feeling the movement of the breath in your body. So Alice, we're lying down. You'll be pleased to hear, hopefully. Lying down. So feeling the movement of the breath in the front of our body. Also this soothing feeling of the hands resting on the front of yourself, and just noticing where you are right now. And hopefully as we start to move and become aware of our breath, if we are feeling not that great, we'll hopefully start to feel a little bit better. And just it can take some time. So lying there, maybe to start with, that's it. Starting to, if your legs are long, maybe bend your knees now and stand your feet on the floor. And just start to let your knees tilt to the right and to the left. And notice how this feels. So this movement, we do it ever so a lot at the beginning of the class. How do, use it to help you feel your body. As your knees tilt to the right and to the left, what do you feel? Into your hip joints, around the back of your pelvis, into your lower back. And some days we can feel tighter and stiffer or more sore. And it's not really always any clear reason. That's just how things are. So a couple more times, let the knees tilt to the right and to the left. And then settle in the center. Feel the contact of the back of your pelvis on the floor. And then just start to tilt your pelvis away from your head and towards your head. Away from your head and towards your head. And just see how this feels. So again, this is a chance to see how a lower back feels, but also to just start to release things a little bit into the lower back. So when you tip your pelvis away from your head, your lower back arches off the floor a little bit. When you tilt your pelvis towards your head, your lower back flattens out. That curve in the lower back flattens out and lengthens. And just see how that feels. And if your lower back feels tight, you might just want to be careful when we do the folding in versions of the rocking. So
what I'd like you to do now is let your pelvis settle on the floor, let your knees settle, and fold your right knee into your chest. And so from here, fold the right knee into your chest, keep your left foot standing on the floor, and you're going to let the right knee come out to the right and bring your ankle, your right ankle, to rest on your left thigh, close to your knee. And Sarah, you would be crossing your right leg over your left leg. So you've got your right ankle resting. Yes, actually, no, the right ankle resting on their left thigh, close to their knee. Good. And then you're going to start to rock side to side on your standing foot, which is your left foot. I've got you all again, which is good. So, hi, Kate. Hi. So, Kate, I will demonstrate what we're doing.
We are doing a bit of rocking like this with our ankle on our thigh. So when you're doing this rocking, again, it can be a small movement, it can be a bigger movement. Your top leg, the right leg, is quite passive. It's the rocking side to side on the standing foot, the left foot, which is the active thing. And if you want to from here, you can pause in the center, you can put the standing foot off the floor, and you can catch around the back of that thigh. But make sure that's comfortable, particularly the lower back, because it can sometimes feel a bit of a strain if the lower back is tight. It might be that once you've caught around the back of your thigh, and so Sarah, you would catch around the back, the top of your knees. So you're doing that slightly different version. Once you've caught around the back of your thigh, you have a few breaths there, or you just, and you could rock from side to side if you wanted. Let me just have a little look at you. Good. Okay. And then bring your left foot back down on the floor. Keep your right leg where it is. Bring the left foot back to the floor. And then slide your right leg further across to your left leg. So you're crossing your legs now, as if you were going to sit cross-legged, you know, on a chair with your legs crossed. And come back, and now come back to the rocking with your left foot on the floor. Good. So Sarah, you're just repeating the same movement again, but I think that's no bad thing. So again, yeah, so Sheila, slide that top leg further across now. That's it. That's it. So you're crossing your knee. Have a look at me if you're not sure. So it's where you're crossing your knees as if you were sitting on a chair with your legs, your legs crossed. That's it. And then you're rocking side to side on your standing foot. If you feel that you want to bring your standing foot a bit more central, you could do. That's a possibility. Good. And then again, it's up to you. So from rocking like this, you can, if you want to, then fold both knees in towards your chest and hold around the top of the knees. So this is taking us towards cow legs, but I think keep it really easy at this point. I wouldn't worry about trying to catch your ankles. I would just hold around the top of the knees. Again, you can always do a little bit of circling or rocking around the back of the pelvis, or just have a few breaths here. And whenever you want to come out, you can uncross your legs. So you can take your legs up to the ceiling and give them a nice shake out. And then just bring both feet back to the floor for a moment. Let a breath come in, let a breath leave you. Feel your body resting on the ground. And then when you're ready, you're going to fold your left knee into your chest. Let the left knee come out to the side and bring the left ankle to rest on the right thigh, close to the knee. And then you're going to start rocking on your right foot. That's right, yes, on your right foot. So your standing foot, you're rocking side to side on your right foot. If you feel that you want to move that foot so it's a bit more central, you can do. So Mel, you should have your left ankle on your right thigh now, close to your knee. Good. And you're rocking, good, you're rocking side to side. And then it's very much, hi Al,
Hi.
Hi, lovely.
We're sort of on side 2, so you might just want to do a little bit of rocking to catch up. We were doing this one.
Okay.
And folding in. So you could possibly, I mean, we were also doing a few bit of tilting the pelvis and rocking. So just maybe see how you feel once you've got yourself on your back.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
So everyone who's rocking side to side with your ankle on your thigh, if you want to pause the middle, fold your legs in towards you and have a few breaths. So again, you could rock or you could just breathe.
And you can also, when you've done enough of that one, you bring your right foot back to stand on the floor for a moment, well actually for more than a moment, right foot back onto the floor, and then slide that left leg further across the right leg. That's it, so you're crossing your legs. And then you're rocking side to side again on your standing foot. And again, it's really up to you how big or small this movement is. You want to keep it comfortable. Good. Very nice. And then fold your knees into your chest once more, if you like. Keeping your legs crossed, Hilary, that's it, if that's okay. Yeah, so make sure, yeah, that's it, Donna, legs crossed. Folding the knee, yeah, legs crossed with the, that's it, Mal, with the left leg on top. So you've still got your legs crossed, you're folding your knees into your chest. So it's like we're doing cow, easy cow legs on our back. And have a few breaths here. So holding around the top of your knees, you could rock or you could circle around the back of your pelvis. And whenever you've had enough, you're going to take your legs up towards the ceiling. Give them a bit of a shake out. And then from here, you're going to bring your feet to stand on the floor once more. And let a breath come in, let a breath leave you. A couple of times, feel your breath move through your body. And then when you're ready, you're going to start to roll up and down through bridge pose, maybe 3 times. So just feel that your feet are on the floor in a helpful place. You can sink your weight into your feet. And you can start to peel your spine, lift your pelvis, peel your spine away from the floor. Now, if you're feeling a bit tight, as I am, around the back of the pelvis, just try to make sure that you're not holding there. And it might be, I was thinking when I was doing this earlier, I'm feeling a bit tight around my pelvis. So I wasn't going very high. And my focus was on really being planted in my feet and trying to let the muscles around the pelvis release. And something else you could do, if that's how you're feeling, is you could do the one where you just lift your pelvis a bit and then you drop the pelvis onto the floor with a little bit of a thud. So again, if as you start to roll up in bridge pose, what you feel is tightness around the back of the pelvis, just see if you can release that rather than, tighten more. So funny, you've all moved around suddenly, so everyone's in different spots. Good. And so maybe if you're rolling up and down in bridge pose, maybe 3 times. And then, yes, like you're doing, Donna, we're going to fold our knees into our chest one last time. And we're going to move from this position where our knees are folded into our chest. We're going to 3 times, we're going to take the arms and legs up towards the ceiling and shake them out with our buzzing breath. So fold your knees into your chest. Let a breath come in and then arms and legs up to the ceiling, shaking out as we buzz.
Can I have some peace now, love, please?
Fold back in again, let a breath come in. And one last time, fold your knees back in towards you, let the breath come in. And you could then just do a little bit of rocking from side to side. So it's going to be coming over, making our way onto hands and knees. And first of all on hands and, well, I just arrive on hands and knees and just see how you feel. So I have got a sequence we're going to do on hands and knees, but I'd actually like you just to arrive on hands and knees, see how you feel, and maybe do your own thing for a couple of things. Just what do you feel would be nice in your body? It's always a little bit clunky when we change position and people change their devices around, so I'm sure the noise will settle down. So come on hands and knees, and it might be that you think, okay, child pose, that's what I need to do. It might be that you want to do a dog pose and see how that feels. Cat. Sarah, just really see how it feels to be on your hand and obviously be on your forearms, if that's better. So yeah, just for a minute or two, what would you like to do when you come onto hands and knees? And if it's just being quiet and child, that's absolutely fine. And wherever you are on hands and knees, whatever you're doing, very noise going on in someone's background. I can't quite work out where it is. Al, is it your?
It's not me, no.
Not you. Okay, no. Sounds like a load of water. So it's calmed down again. Okay. I don't like having to mute everyone. Oh, that's nice to see. Doggies coming through. So just another few seconds of whatever you like, whether it's tail wagging, whether it's cat, whether it's child pose. Might be quite nice if you haven't done a dog pose, maybe just if you can bear to do one exploratory dog pose just to see how it feels, and then I'll show you, I think, our little sequence before we do it together. So just, yeah, coming into dog pose, noticing what you feel. Often the first thing we feel is, where are we stiff? And then maybe the second thing we feel is, how can we release that? Or we start to feel, how can we release that? Very nice. Dogs. So when you come out of these lovely dog poses, there's no rush. Just sit so you can watch me for a moment. So I think I'll just quickly show you this sequence so that we all know what we're doing. It'll be easier. So we'll start with some cat. From cat, we will come into dog pose. We're going to be doing this a bit more slowly. I'm just sort of racing through to show you. From dog, we'll come into a forward bend. From our forward bend, we'll come down to a squat. Don't worry about blocks, because we're going to, from our squat, be rolling forwards through the tops of our feet, coming onto hands and knees, lengthening, leg out. I just realised I think I've missed out a crucial thing from the beginning of the sequence. But I'll add that. I'll remember. I'll add that in. Lengthen each leg out, and then coming into plank, and then sitting back into kneeling and doing a little bit of a twist. So if you feel for kneeling, you need to be sitting on a block or a book or a cushion. The one thing I forgot to say is, yes, from our cat, from doing some cat, we're going to first of all rock back and come forwards into face up dog.
Okay. Yes. I knew there was a face-up dog in it somewhere. So I probably confused you more than anything else now. So come on to hands and knees, and I will talk you through the sequence. So hopefully the first thing we're not too confused with is to do some cat movements. So rounding your back to the ceiling, dipping your spine down to the floor. And then if your toes are flat, my feet are usually flat in cat, I'm then going to tuck my toes under, round my back to the ceiling again, rock my hips back over my heels, staying rounded. And at this point, then walk your hands a bit further forwards on the floor, because we're going to travel forwards into face-up dog, rounding our backs to the ceiling, watching our pelvises come forwards. You don't have to go all the way into face-up dog if you're feeling you need to warm up a little bit more. So into face-up dog. And then from face-up dog, coming onto hands and knees, tucking your toes under, exhaling up into your dog pose. Might feel like a bit of a long dog because we came from face-up dog. You might want to walk your feet in a little bit. Have a few breaths in your dog pose. Bend your knees as much as you like. Rest into your hands. And then from dog pose, you're going to start to walk your hands into your feet, coming into a forward bend. So make sure you arrive with all of your weight in your feet. Let your head go, let your arms go. Have a look at your feet. Make sure they're hip width apart and parallel. And then you're going to start to bend your knees straight forwards over your feet. It's fine if your heels come up, because we're going to roll through the tops of the feet onto hands and knees. And once we're on hands and knees, we're going to let each leg out behind us. And so if any of the little movements you need to adjust because they don't quite work for you, that's absolutely fine. Find your own way through it. Now, on hands and knees, we're then going to come into plank pose. So lengthening one leg back and adding the second leg in. In our plank pose, that we're neither letting the pelvis hang down nor stick up. We're in this long straight line, and we have breaths here if we can. And then we let the knees come down to the floor and sit back into kneeling. And at this point, if you need a cushion or something underneath you, do grab something, because I'd like you to. If kneeling really doesn't work, you could be in upright kneeling like this. I'd like you to, in kneeling, do your little twist. So turning one way, turning the other. Okay, so we then do that all again. We're going to do it 2 more times. I'm just going to take my top off because I feel like I'm sort of talking half the time down into my t-shirt. So back onto hands and knees, hands under the shoulders, knees under the hip joints. Your feet can be flat to start with. We're going to do a few cycles of cat. So just trying to enjoy that feeling of the spine undulating, dipping and rounding. And then when you're ready, tuck your toes under, round your back to the ceiling, rock your hips back over your heels. And then slide the hands a little bit further forwards on the floor. Let a breath come in, and as you exhale, you're going to travel forwards into your face-up dog, watching your pelvis come forward so you stay rounded. You end up in face-up dog. Let the pelvis go if that's comfortable. And then from here, moving into dog pose, tucking the toes under. It might be, as I said before, quite a long dog if we've gone from face-up dog. You might want to walk your feet in a little bit. When you arrive in dog, have a few breaths, resting through your arms and your hands. And then from dog, walking your hands in towards your feet. So eventually all of your weight's in your feet. You can let your head go. Your knees can be as bent as you like. Have a look at your feet. Make sure they're hip width apart and parallel. We then start to come down through a squat. We don't worry if the heels come up because we're going to roll through the tops of the feet and come onto hands and knees. And then lengthen each leg out behind us in turn. Done this, each leg lengthening out in turn, we're then going to come on into plank pose. So make sure your shoulders are over your wrists. Lengthen one leg back, lengthen the other. So in plank pose, we're in this midline between face up dog and dog pose. We're neither letting the pelvis be pulled down to the ground, but nor are we sticking it up in the air. Dog. If you want to rest, come back into kneeling. You can be sitting down, you can be sitting up. We're going to be doing a little rotation. Try to keep quiet below the waist. Let the shoulders drop. Turning both ways. And we're going to do our sequence one more time. So coming back onto hands and knees. Settling yourself with your hands. Actually, you might want to, sorry, I meant to say when we're here, just to shake the hands out. So we might just, before this time, if you feel that you need to do any of these things for your wrists, you might want to do that. My hands just felt a bit in need of it. So come onto hands and knees. One last time. Coming to cat. Rounding your back, dipping your spine. See how this feels. And then when you're ready, tucking your toes under, rounding your back, rocking your hips back over your heels, walk the hands forwards, let a breath come in as you exhale, traveling forwards into face up dog. Hopefully the third face up dog's maybe feeling a little more freer. And then from here you can go straight into dog pose through hands and knees. Go straight into dog, you could tuck your toes under, up into dog, this long dog that we might want to shorten by walking the feet in. You might want to bend both knees, walking on the floor. And then starting to walk the hands, big handprints in towards the feet. Letting the head go. Checking the feet are hip width apart and parallel, starting to bend the knees forwards over the footprints, down into our squat, rolling through the tops of our feet, onto hands and knees. Lengthen one leg back behind us, lengthen the other leg back. And then coming on into plank pose. So really in your plank pose, can you use your feet? So the toes are very tucked under, really stretching the heels back behind you. You're looking down, your gaze is level with your fingertips. Then, yes, probably enough plank pose. Sitting down and kneeling. This time do give your hands a little shake out. And once again, coming into your rotations in kneeling, keeping quiet below the waist, keeping quiet through the ribs. Turning one way, turning the other. We're going to come up into standing through one more dog. What I'd like you to do in this dog is maybe just watch for a moment, although I'm sure it's going to be familiar to you. Is in this dog is a split of this one where we're rolling through to the tops of one foot and then the other. Oh, which feels quite nice in the front of the ankles. So for this final dog, just think about hands being really big, really planted on the floor, tucking your toes under. Exhaling, rocking your hips back over your heels. And then once you're in dog, it's this, yes, really starting to open through the front of the ankles, rolling through the toes. You can also do a bit of, the other thing would be quite nice in dog is to take the feet wide, even as wide as the mat, and really come up onto the balls of your feet and bend your knees a lot. So really flexing the toes. When you're eventually ready to come into your forward bend, you probably want to bring your feet back so they're hip width apart again. Maybe just a couple of quiet breaths in dog. emptying through the front of the body, letting your front ribs soften back. Quiet. And then walking your hands slowly, hand by hand, into your feet. When you arrive in your forward bend, let the head go, let the arms go. Big exhalation. Let a breath come in, and as you exhale, you're going to roll up into standing. And we're up. Standing. So we're going to do a foot exercise in standing first of all, and then I've got a sequence with some balancing poses in it. So I thought quite a fun sequence, but we'll see what you think. So what I'd like you to do first of all is just, actually before we do anything, let's just settle and arrive in standing. So look at your feet hip width apart and parallel, and just close your eyes. How does it feel to be in standing? And you can sway a little bit from side to side, whatever you like, just this settling in standing. And we'll be coming back at the end of our period of standing. We'll be coming back and settling in standing a little bit longer. So if it feels a bit all over the place at this stage, don't worry.
What have you done there?
Let's start by rolling onto the out. We're going to choose one foot to work with. So I'm choosing my right foot. It doesn't really matter. We'll do both. Start by rolling onto the outer edge of that foot several times. So you're probably going to know this sequence of foot exercises because we do it fairly frequently because I find it so. So rolling onto the outer edge of that one foot several times, seeing how that feels. And if you're anything like me, your ankle and your foot is going to be clicking and clunking away. So that's absolutely fine. And then bring that foot forwards and you can do a bit of tapping of your foot. And you can start to tap that foot in a little bit out to the right, over to the left. And then you can slide the foot back in and come up onto the ball of the foot. And at this point, see if you can spread your toes out as much as possible, because you're going to be rolling across the ball of your foot from the base of the big toe to the base of the little toe. And I always feel this is when I get to give the ball of my foot a really good massage, and it can feel a little bit painful. Yes, that I'm really getting into some tight places. And then finally, we come back to the first movement, rolling onto the outer edge of the foot and just seeing how that feels. And then what you're going to do is, before we do the other side, is we're going to settle in standing with, having done one side, and just see how that feels. So close your eyes. So this sensation of dropping down into your body, how do the two feet feel? And I always find this quite interesting, having done one side, because this foot I've just worked, it feels like it's sort of lower down on the floor, deeper on the floor than the other one. Interesting sensations when we focus on how does our body feel. And then open your eyes, come onto the other side. So start to roll onto the outer edge of the second foot. And oh my goodness, that can feel really stiff. It certainly doesn't. So rolling onto the outer edge of the second foot several times, seeing how that feels, and then sliding your foot forwards, a bit of tapping of the foot on the floor. And I've got my hands on my pelvis so that I'm not taking my pelvis. You could take your pelvis with you, but if you leave your pelvis facing forwards, you're also then moving into your hip joints. Quite helpful. Bring the foot back in. Come up onto the ball of the foot and roll across the ball of your foot. That's it. Inner edge to the outer edge. Does anyone know whether there's a banging coming in the back of someone's? Okay, that might be.
Sorry, that was me, Clara.
Somebody banging my front door.
Okay, don't worry. These things happen.
Don't they? All these strange things. So rolling across the ball of the foot. And then finally coming to roll onto the outer edge of the foot. Repeat that movement. See how that feels. Okay, and then we're going to do, so I'm just going to, I'd muted, what I muted? Alison, I've muted you for a moment because I think one of the girls came in, so I've unmuted you now. So we're going to do a bit of walking up and down our mat. So hopefully we have a little bit more aware into, a bit more awareness in our feet. Come to the one end of your mat and you're going to slow your walking down. So it's a bit like we're doing, you know, slightly slow walking. We're going to walk up our mat. And what I'd quite like you to do is not be looking at your feet, be looking at the wall in front of you. So you're just feeling your feet on the floor. And then we'll walk back up the mat, backwards. So, yeah, keep looking forwards rather than down. And slow it down enough that you feel steady. And then walk up your mat again. So again, rather than looking down at your feet, look straight ahead. Slow it down so you can feel one footprint and then the other footprint on the floor. So it's a bit like a mini walking meditation, or you don't usually walk backwards in walking meditation. So how does it feel to walk backwards again? But just this, can we drop our weight down into our feet? And it's very steadying. And it's very helpful for quieting our mind. Let's do it once more, and let's just see how it is to have our eyes closed. So you might have to go really slowly now. So walking forwards on your mat. You might end up taking smaller steps, I think I do, with your eyes closed. And with your eyes closed, maybe you really feel the feet. And you notice, so you're going to notice when you get to the end of your mat, because that's when you're going to hit a different surface underneath your feet. And then you start to walk backwards. So keep your eyes, so walking backwards with your eyes closed. Again, to feel confident, you might have to go really slowly. If it just feels too much, of course, open your eyes at any point. See if you can feel when you get to the end of your mat when your foot hits a different surface. And then have a little shake out. So we're going to, I'm going to show you, we're going to do a sequence that involves us walking up and down the mat. And I'll show you first because we turn around at the end of the mat. And once you see what we'll do, it'll be clear for the other ones. So we're going to step forwards 1, 2, 3 with the right foot. And we're going to come into this balance here. And this arm can come up if you're feeling steady. When we come down, we'll come into a forward bend. We'll roll back up. We'll then turn around on our mats and we'll walk towards the other end of the mat. So starting with the other foot, 1, 2, 3. And we'll come onto the other side of the balance, hopefully not wobbling as much as me, here. And then we'll come into a forward bend. And we're going to do that 3 times and vary the balances and vary what we do with them a bit. So, but that's the basic principle. So we walk up our mat, we turn around and we do the other side. So start at one end of your mat. And we're going to step forwards with the right foot first of all. So step the right foot forwards, 1, left foot 2, right foot 3. And then let your weight come into that right foot fully. See if you can catch your back foot. It could be your trousers. Matter if you fall down for a moment. Bring your hand onto your breastbone. Just see if you can settle here. The bent knee, the left knee drop towards the floor. And you can take your right arm up towards the ceiling. So we're just trying to feel long and tall from our standing heel to our raised fingertips. Letting the shoulders soften, feeling the flow of the breath through us. And particularly feeling the footprint on the floor. In your own time, come down, bring your foot back to the floor and roll down into a forward bend. Let your head go. Let your arms go. And let a breath come in, exhale, sink into your heels, roll back up into standing. And at this point, you then turn around on your mat. So you may find at this point you're walking away from your device. That doesn't matter because you know what you're doing. We're going to do the other side. So this time, start stepping forwards with your left foot. 1, 2, 3. So you're bringing your weight into your left foot. You're catching the top of the right foot or the right trouser leg, and you're letting the right knee drop. And you can bring your left hand onto your breastbone. And just have a few quiet breaths here. And it might be that you want to stay here if you don't feel so steady. If you feel steady and you want to take your arm up towards the ceiling, you can do. So shoulder nice and relaxed. Both shoulders relaxed would be good. Breathing, letting the right knee drop towards the floor. Long and tall from your heel to your fingertips. Let the breath come in, let the breath leave you. And then from here, let the right foot come back down to the floor, feet hip width apart and parallel. You roll forwards into your forward bend. Let your head go. Good. Have a couple of breaths there and then roll back up into standing. So I'm just going to show you now what we're going to do, and then you can turn around on your mat. I'm going to show you now what we're going to do in the next cycle of the sequence. We'll walk forwards, 1, 2, 3. We'll come to the same place initially, but hand at the breastbone, and from here, you're going to then release the back leg, bring your hands into prayer pose. See what it feels like to tilt forwards. From here, I might stay there a bit longer than this. I'm just going to run through it with you all. Back into a forward bend. This time you could drop down into a squat. Might be nice for your lower back. So have your block nearby if you want it. From our squat, we'll roll back up and we'll open out the front of our body in a little standing back arch. Okay, so just developing the sequence a little bit more. So come to the back of your mat, whichever end you're going to start at. We're going to step forwards with the right foot. So 1, 2, 3. Coming back to this starting position of hand on the breastbone, catching your left foot or your left trouser leg. And then what we're going to do from here is release that back leg, start to bring the hands into prayer pose, start to reach back with your left heel, back and up, and let your body tip forwards in response. And see if you can have a breath or two here. All of these things, it doesn't matter if you fall out, you can come back up. You can stand your foot back on the floor, so feet side to side, hip width apart and parallel, rolling down into your forward bend. And then from your forward bend, starting to bend your knees forwards over your feet into a squat. And I would say in this squat, do put your book or your block under your heels if you need it, because it's nice to lengthen the lower back out. When we do that balance, when one leg is raised, it can be a strain on the lower back. And then from our squat, if you've got a block, you might want to remove it at this point, because we're then going to reverse our movement, sending the heels down, not onto the block, because it's wobbly, back into your forward bend, rolling up into standing, and you can go all the way into your little standing back arch. So do bend your knees. Just think about the pelvis coming forwards. Do bend your knees, if that's helpful for you. Don't stay there long. Come back into standing, turn around on your mat. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to step forwards with the left foot. So 1, 2, 3. Bringing your weight onto your left foot, catching the top of your right foot. Bringing your left hand onto your breastbone. So from here, we're going to release the back leg. We're going to bring the hands into prayer pose. We're going to reach back and up with the right heel. We're going to see how it feels to tilt forwards a little bit. We're being very, very clever. We might be able to have the back of the pelvis level. I don't think I'm doing that. Doesn't really matter too much. Let the breath come in, let the breath leave you. Coming back up in your own time. Stand your feet on the floor, hip width apart and parallel. Roll down into your forward bend. Let your arms go. And then from your forward bend, again, have your block nearby if you need that for your squat, because we're going to bend the knees forwards over the feet. Come down. There we go, here's one I had to hand. Come down into our squat and have a couple of breaths here. So we can let the pelvis feel heavy. We can let our lower backs lengthen out. And then we'll reverse that movement. We'll remove the wedge, the block, will be on the balls of the feet, and the fingertips will start to send the heels down, the sit bones up, back into our forward bend, and then rolling up into standing all the way, opening out the front of the body, bending the knees if you like. Pelvis moves forwards into your standing back arch. And then come back out, give yourself a shake out. And I'm going to show you now the third cycle of the sequence. So again, we'll walk forwards, 1, 2, 3. We'll come to this place here. This time we'll do these ones, these free stalk, I call it, or free dancer. So going wherever you like. When we come out of this, you're going to step the left foot back. So you're in this position. And we'll fold forwards here. And then we'll be coming to here. I'll be talking you into all of this, don't worry. We'll be coming into this one, coming out, coming back up, turning around on our mat, okay? So you don't have to remember at all. I just want you to see where we're going. So again, starting at the back of your mat, just before we walk forwards, maybe take a moment to feel yourself in standing. So footprints on the ground, shoulders dropping, arms hanging. Thinking about walking forwards, we're going to step forwards with the right foot, steps forwards. 1, 2.
How's going on?
3.
Oh, seems.
Right, we lost someone.
It's going now. It's just a lorry reversing up the street.
Oh, right, okay.
Going.
All those things are so much noisier at the moment, don't they? So coming to balance on the right foot, and don't worry if you fall out of these ones. So this reaching forwards and back, letting the pelvis roll if you want to into these sort of really free, expansive movements. You could be tipping forward. I mean, there's all different possibilities here. So it's really just being a bit exploratory, and yeah, obviously you don't want to hurt yourself by falling out, but not worrying if you do. Reaching back with your foot, forwards with your arm. And then when you bring your left foot back on the floor, you're going to step it back a little bit. So we're in this, you all know this foot position, both feet pointing forwards, hip width distance, a comfortable walking pace. And we're going to fold forwards here, maybe with the hands on the back of the pelvis. As you fold forwards, you could let the front knee bend to make it a bit easier. Back leg stays fairly straight, if that's possible. Let the head go. And then sink into your heels and come up halfway. So you're going to come to lean on your bent front leg. So at this point, make sure your back leg is straight, your front knee is bent. You're leaning either your hands or your right forearm on that bent front leg. And your left hand can come onto the back of your pelvis. And we're just really trying to tell the pelvis not to move as we turn the ribs and the shoulders and the head towards the left, towards the back leg. And you can release your bottom arm, just hang, or your fingertips could be on your ankle, your shin, or the floor. And your left arm can reach up towards the ceiling. You're trying to have that left hand facing forwards and the arm immediately above the bottom arm. And then do untwist and flop forwards when you've had enough.
And then sinking into both heels, coming back up into standing. Well done. Have a little shake out. Turn around on your mat. So you're facing the other way. Last side of this sequence. So again, just gather yourself in standing before we start walking forwards. Let a breath come in. Shift your weight onto your right foot. Step your left foot forwards. 1, 2, 3. Your weight comes into your left foot. You're coming into this starting position. You've caught your foot, you've caught your trouser leg, your hand is on your breastbone. And then where could you go from here? Where would you like to go? Reaching arm forwards, leg and foot back, coming back to the centre. And just this trying to do something that feels joyful, expansive, fun. If it's all feeling a bit of an effort, you don't have to do too much. Reaching forwards and back. If you wobble, it doesn't matter. And then when you bring your foot down, stepping the right foot back. Both feet pointing forwards, hip width distance between the feet. Hands on the back of the pelvis. You're going to fold forwards, letting the front knee bend. Let your head go, let your arms go, flop forwards. Have a couple of breaths there. And then we're going to sink into the heels, come up halfway. So we're resting now on that bent front leg. Back leg is straight. You're going to leave your left hand or your left forearm on that front leg. Bring your right hand onto the back of your pelvis. So we try and tell the pelvis, stay put, as we turn the ribs and the shoulders and the head to the right. Release the left arm down, shake it out. Could rest very lightly somewhere. Right arm comes up, possibly. Palm facing forward, soft. This arm is relaxed. Well, if it's not relaxed, maybe it's better here. And then untwisting. Lock forwards, bend the front knee, bend the back knee if you like. And then sinking into your heels, rolling up into standing. Well done. Have a little shake out.
Very nice sequences, those.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad. I had fun. I had fun making this up yesterday. Come to swinging your arms.
Cara, I'm going to lie down. I've got to go to something at
Okay,
10:30, so I'll
sounds-
say goodbye.
That sounds good. Lots of love, Mel. We'll see you later. No, I shouldn't say yes. So what we're going to do now is, someone from another class asked me to have a reading, and I thought, I've got a very short poem we're going to have, and we're going to hear it first in standing. So it's going to be like a little mini standing meditation. So let's settle in standing, and then I'm going to move a bit nearer to the screen as I read you the poem. I'm just going to show you. So it's from this book, One Robe, One Bowl, the Zen poetry of Ryokan, who was a hermit monk in the, can't see, 18th century Japan. So very beautiful. The poem's very beautiful, sort of, yeah, Zen poems about nature. And this one particularly, just to me, somehow seemed appropriate for these strange days we're living in. So you're going to settle in standing, and it might be that you want to do a bit of swaying in your standing to start with. So it's good when we're in standing that we don't start to feel too held or fixed. You can be swaying, you can be circling. And eventually it might feel from doing this that you can settle down and become more still, but you don't have to. You could keep swaying if you like. Maybe a couple of big sighing breaths and closing your eyes if that feels okay. So you're going to stay in standing, but I'm going to come a bit nearer and just read you these four short lines, and you're going to see how it feels. Standing alone beneath a solitary pine, quickly the time passes. Overhead, the endless sky. Who can I call to join me on this path? And we're going to have this poem again in sitting a bit later on, so don't worry if it went in a little bit of a blur. I'd like you now just to come back to swinging your arms again. So I very much like this poem, the way it started with the standing alone, and then it led to this who will join me. So we're going to come down in from our standing at the back of our mats. We're going to come down through a forward bend, dog pose, into child pose, and quite slowly, and really trying to be very present in our body. So coming to the back of your mat, feeling your feet on the floor, letting a breath come in, and as you exhale, just slowly starting to roll down, keeping the heels very anchored into the ground, letting the arms go, letting the spine and head tumble forwards. Arrive in your forward bend, feel your body. How does the lower back feel? How do the back of the legs feel? Let a breath come in, let a breath leave you. And then really think about big handprints, slowly walking forwards into dog. Where are you going to stop for your dog? Where feels the right place? You can always go a little bit further, you can always come back a little bit. Have a few breaths in dog. How does it feel to rest into your arms? Are your hands really big? Maybe you want to bend your knees. One knee, both knees. Can you exhale and really empty through the front of your body? Let your front ribs soften back with the action of the exhalation. If you're enjoying your dog, then you stay there. But whenever you're ready, you then fold slowly down into child pose and really taking your hips back over your heels, giving yourself a moment to settle back. Weight of the pelvis back over the heels, and then resting the forehead, the elbows, down onto the floor. Or a few quiet breaths. So see if you can feel 2 more cycles of breath move through you in this child pose. Feeling the breath coming in. Feeling the breath leaving you. And from child pose, we're going to be coming back onto hands and knees. And we're going to be doing a little bit of, see how we'll do a little bit of tail wagging, which you might have added a bit in. You might have done a bit of tail wagging earlier when you were doing your own thing on hands and knees. But I just want us to do a little bit more tail wagging now. So see how it feels to wag your tail from side to side. If your lower back feels tight, it might be that you need to round your back a little bit more to wag your tail. Might be that you want to do your little fishes. Feel that freedom of the pelvis moving from side to side. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our tail wagging forwards and back. And you might need a slightly longer hands and knees position. So we're going to be wagging our tail back to child pose. and moving our pelvis side to side to bring us forwards to face up dog. So in your own time, just moving. Sarah, if you're being on your wrists, you've had enough, you might want to just go onto your belly for a little bit. Give your pelvis a wiggle, that would be another possibility. So just a little bit, if this feels okay, swinging the pelvis from side to side, moving forwards, moving back to child pose. And eventually you're going to end up in child pose for a few breaths. Maybe making this the last face up dog. If you want to have a few extra breaths in it, do so. And then wiggling your way back into child pose for a couple more breaths in child. I seem to have lost Donna? I'm not sure. Yes. And then, yes, that's it. So from your child pose, we're going to come on into another side bending movement, which I think you all know. So it's going to be this one where we, actually in Sarah, I think this one doesn't work for you. So we're going to take this into pigeon. So you might just want to go straight into pigeon. What we're going to do is this one where the knee comes forwards and the heel is under the buttock and we're down on our forearms. I think you know this, where we're rocking our pelvis to the outside and the inside of our heels. So I'm just going to show you, in case you're not sure, delightful rear end view. My pelvis rocking side to side over my heel. And we will then take this into pigeon. But yes, sorry, if this one isn't so good for you, you go straight into the joys of pigeon. So you're going to, doesn't matter which knee, you're going to slide one knee forwards. You've got your heel under your buttock. You're coming down onto your forearms. Now you might want to have your toes tucked under in your back leg, or you might want them flat. And then you're exploring this movement of shifting your pelvis side to side. So again, we've got this side to side movement of the pelvis. The pelvis goes to the outside of the heel and towards the inside of the heel. It's a bit of a sort of lizardy type movement. Sometimes in it can be quite interesting to look down along the sides of your body as you rock from side to side. If your back knee feels pressure, this is when you might want to tuck your toes under. And then we'll take this into pigeon. So when your pelvis is on the outside of your heel, you then can shift your weight onto, I'll come around this way, onto that outside hip. Your knee can come out to the side a little bit more and you're going to slide your foot over so it's in front of the back leg thigh. And then you've rolled yourself round into pigeon. I'll turn around here again so you to see me better. And then here, just check that your front knee is okay. If your front knee is fine in pigeon, you can have your pelvis level. If your front knee is feeling pressure, then just go off to the side a bit, be a bit lopsided in your pigeon. And then in pigeon, we could do a little bit of rocking, up and down with the toes tucked under, side to side, wiggling the pelvis. We could come up a little bit. So just really, when you're in your pigeon, it's about what little movements can we do to make it all a bit more bearable. Unless you're really loving it. From pigeon, if it's possible for you, we're going to come all the way straight up into dog pose. Now you could just roll out and come onto hands and knees, or my back toes off the back of my mat, which isn't ideal. We're going to plant your hands on the floor, tuck your back toe under, step that front leg back into dog pose, and just have a bit of a lengthen out. Quite a relief. Lengthen out in dog, and then you'll come back down onto hands and knees, and you're going to slide the other knee forward. So again, we're coming into this lizardy movement. First of all, our heel is under our buttock, to start with, we're on our forearms, back toes tucked under or flat, and then we're rocking our pelvis side to side over our heel. And obviously, if our front knee doesn't like this, then we don't do it. Feel the side to side movement of the pelvis. It can be interesting to look down along the sides of your body. That brings this side bending movement into your rib cage more and your neck. Good. And then, like we did on the other side, when your pelvis is on the outside of your heel, you can move on into pigeon pose. So the pelvis rolls to the outside, that knee maybe slides back a little bit, your foot comes in front now of the back leg thigh. Just swivel around, lots of swiveling around today, swivel around again. Again, really important, how does your front knee feel? If it feels too much pressure, come into your lopsided pigeon, that's absolutely fine. If your front knee feels fine, then feel where your pelvis is. So one of the things we're going to get brilliant at in lockdown is knowing where our own pelvis is in pigeon pose. I'm going to come and have a look at you now though. So have a few breaths in pigeon. Any of your little rocking things, I just want to be able to have a little look. I don't know. Very nice. Yes, lovely. Excellent, beautiful. Good. And this time, whenever yes, so Sarah, kneeling is good for you from there. Whenever you've had enough on this side of pigeon, you're going to be rolling out onto your front leg hip. And then you're going to swing the back leg around, even apart from Sarah, who's going to be kneeling, you're going to come into cobbler pose for a moment.
Oh, that wasn't a cobbler pose, that was Cobbler Pose.
Into cobbler pose. And then from cobbler pose, so Sarah, we're going to come into pinwheel, and I'm just thinking whether it's helpful. I would quite like you to end up in pinwheel. So if you take your right knee on top of your left knee. So Sarah, from kneeling, if you sit your bottom down onto the left. So we've ended up in pinwheel, hopefully with the left knee going out to the side. And so someone in another class reminded me of this sequence in pinwheel, and I thought, oh yeah, okay, we'll do that. That's not helpful. Otto, quick. I just have to stop Otto biting his tail. Come on. Okay. Don't need to do that, do we? So a little bit of circling in pinwheel on this side. So it can be very nice, this circling and settling in pinwheel. So when I was teaching on Wednesday and I was feeling very wobbly about pregnancy and all of that, I taught all my favourite things in a class, and one of them, of course, pinwheel was one of them. Pigeon was one of them. People were like, really? Is pigeon one of your favourite things? And cow legs, which we'll be doing as well, was another one. But there's something very soothing and settling about this. Now from here, what we're going to do this time in pinwheel is lean onto our left hand, so the same hand as the knee going out to the side. But rather than swinging our arm around, we're going to start to draw a big circle with this back leg and see how this feels. We're thinking about drawing the circles, so our right foot is coming beyond our left knee. Is this possible? But we can swing the leg back behind us. And so Sarah, obviously for you, the focus is much more this way, yeah? Rather than the going back. And some of you, it might be that, yes, you can take that leg, you might want to go a long way back with it. And this, again, Friday, you might not like this way into cow legs, but it is another way into our favourite cow legs. So this leg can swing around and bring us into cow legs. So again, see how you feel. If you're someone who likes your cow legs from this position, you might want to come into here and sit yourselves down. So, which would be something else so much harder. So sitting hopefully in cow legs with your, your right leg on top. Now remember, there's always this option if your sit bones are very uneven. There's always this option if your bottom knee is not happy. can we, in cow legs, turn each way a few times? So when we turn towards the top leg, it helps the top sit bone settle a bit more, but it's quite nice to go both ways in cow, just to feel quite, yeah, free and easy. Could do it with your hands on your ribs.
Did you say free and easy, Kara?
Free and easy. Oh, free and easy in the upper body, not, not below the waist. So we're trying to feel free and easy in the upper body. Yeah, maybe to counterbalance the fact it doesn't feel free and easy lower down. If you're happy in cow, have another few breaths. If you're just ready to come out, lean back, uncross your legs, give your legs a bounce. Just think how much cow legs we're doing in lockdown. It's all gonna be so great when we're, whenever this is all over. Bouncing the legs. And then Sarah coming back into kneeling, everyone else coming into cobbler pose. For a moment before we go on to side 2 of pinwheel. So this time, let the left knee come on top of the right. Sarah, sit your bottom down onto the right from kneeling. Let that top leg slide back. And a bit of circling. So in both directions. So this, yeah. Circling, settling, giving our weight to the ground. So it's the same principle in all of the sitting poses. We're trying to feel that the legs and pelvis are heavy. And yeah, which sounds really simple, but it's not simple. It's not simple for them to feel heavy sometimes when our muscles are feeling very tight and tense. But that's our intention, is heavy legs, heavy pelvis. Let's lean now onto the right arm and hand. And then we start to draw this circle. It can be a smaller circle to start with. Is it like to slide your toes? So it's quite good if the toes are drawing this. Maybe it starts off as a quarter circle. It starts to get a bit bigger, maybe a bit more of a semicircle. Toes are drawing this circle on the floor. Obviously, if you go back further, that's a bit of an opening through the front of the hip joints. And then again, eventually, you could circle the leg all the way around into cow legs. And cow legs people, Alison, Hilary, yes, if you want to come forwards and adjust your cow legs. I won't do that on this side, it makes it feel worse. So again, a little bit of a wiggle in cow legs. But yes, the free and easy bit is never going to be in our legs and pelvis here. We're thinking, heavy and settled, but can we contrast that with being loose and light in the shoulders? And maybe by being loose and light in the shoulders, it helps us to settle a bit more through the legs, and also just not feel quite so miserable here if it, indeed cow legs is a bit of a trial. So if you're happy, have another few breaths. If you're desperate to come out, it's just really good to do these ones frequently, not feel that you've got to stay here long. But if you are happy to stay, have another couple of breaths. Whenever you're ready, lengthen, lean back, lengthen your legs out, give your legs a bit of a roll, a bit of a bounce. And we're going to come to do some sitting now, sitting and breathing, coming back to our poem with a few simple mudras. So you want to think about how you can sit comfortably. I'm going to come nearer to the screen. You might want your back against the wall. You might want to be sitting cross-legged or kneeling. Just taking a little bit of time to settle down wherever you are. And I'm just going to, let me see, if I move back slightly, you'll be able to see what my hands are doing. So we're having quite simple mudras today. And what I'm going to do is slightly different, slightly little experiment. We're going to have the whole poem first, and then I'm going to just pick out some words from it on 2 more occasions, and let's see how that is. And it's very much about, how the words resonate or maybe don't resonate with you. Let's start with, well, maybe just start with a little bit of circling and rocking and swaying and settling. And the first hand position we're going to sit with is this one, which we've sat with recently, which is handful of blossom. But it's also this gesture of being receptive, of being open, of receiving. So the hands resting. So Sheila, if you let your hands rest on your thighs, that's it. So you want to make sure the hands are really resting down, the shoulders can drop. But it's this, and we'll have the whole poem like this. It's this gesture of, receiving, of being open.
Sarah, I can't quite see your hands.
Oh, my hands are facing, that's it. They're just facing up like that. Yes, sorry, shall I tilt this forwards a little bit more? And I will at this point, I think I should mute everyone, shouldn't I? So I'm going to do that. So we've got the palms facing up. And before I read the poem, just take a moment here to settle. So it might be having 2 or 3 big sighing breaths. We're trying to encourage the body to settle, the breathing to settle, the hands to settle in this position, in this mudra. And then in this position of receptiveness, of openness, just let the words of the poem come to you. Standing alone beneath a solitary pine, quickly the time passes. Overhead, the endless sky. Who can I call to join me on this path? Just have another breath or 2 in this position, letting the breath come in, letting the breath leave you. And then from there, you're going to bring your hands to your heart, and you have a few options. You could have one hand on top of the other at your heart. You could have your hands in prayer pose, but the one I particularly like at the moment is this lotus bud mudra, where there's a bit of space in between the bottom of the fingers and the hands are at the heart. So there's all of these are possibilities. It's just a position of your hands that will bring your awareness to your heart. And again, give yourself a moment to settle here. So letting your body settle, letting your breathing settle, letting your awareness settle with your hands in this position, and particularly letting your awareness settle at your heart center. Standing alone. Time passes. Endless sky. Join me. And then finally bring your hands to rest, palms down on your thighs. So this gesture, this mudra, is more about turning inwards. We've brought our awareness more inner. We've closed that openness of the palms. And so again, you might want to sway a little. You might want to have a couple of big sighing breaths. Can you settle in this position? Hands palms down on the thighs. Shoulders heavy. The body settling, the breathing settling, the awareness settling with the contact of the palms on the thighs. Alone. Quickly. Endless. On this path. Join me. And then from here, folding forwards, bringing your hands now to touch the ground. If you want to fold further forwards and touch your forehead to the ground, you can do. You might need to let your bottom come up. And then we're going to make our way down to lie onto our backs. We'll just do some simple rocking movements. And I think we'll have the whole of the poem again, just at the very end. So yes, make your way down onto your backs, put on warm things. We're going to do a little bit of tilting our knees, and we'll do it a bit with our knees, our feet wider, and I'll talk you into this. I'm going to keep you on mute now. So if you do need to say anything, just wave at me. Otherwise, settle down. Good. Settle down onto your backs, knees bent, feet standing on the floor. Take your time to arrive. And whenever you're ready, you can, the little movements to start with, there's rolling your head to the right and to the left. There's tilting your knees to the right and to the left. And you could be doing the two together if you like. Your head might roll with your knees, your head might roll in the opposite direction to your knees. And then pause in the middle. Sari, you might like to do the crossed leg option rather than the feet wider. So then pause in the middle, and everyone else take their feet as wide as their mat. So Sari, if you like at this point, you could cross one knee over the other knee, you don't have to. And now you're going to let your knees tilt to the right and to the left with your feet wider apart. That's nice. And see how this feels. So you might like to, it's a bit like pinwheel on your back. You might like to just carry on tilting your knees. But if you like, you can let your knees come all the way over onto one side and stay there for a few breaths and let your head roll in the opposite direction. And just really see, can you give the legs over to that side? If you feel that you need to support either knee, then if you have a cushion or something to hand, Hilary, you could always fold the blanket over. Yes, grab your block, that's good. Have a few breaths with the legs falling down to one side, and then obviously you can do the same thing on the other side. And once you've done this on both sides, it might feel nice to fold your knees into your chest and hug your knees in towards you. You could do a little bit of rocking side to side, or a little bit of circling around the back of your pelvis. If you like taking your legs up to the ceiling and shaking them out, that might also be a nice thing to do just before we finally lie down. So that's it. So just preparing yourselves now to settle down, lying down, maybe with a blanket. So you can lie with your knees bent, your legs long. If you've got a bed or a, anything you want to put your legs up on, wall, sofa, chair, settling down. So if it's helpful to have a couple of sighing breaths, if it's to let the body settle, if it's helpful to roll your head to the right and to the left, anything that helps you to settle, to feel heavy on the ground, to feel supported by the floor. Rest your arms wherever you like, out to your sides or your hands on your belly. Feel the flow of your breath, receiving the inhalation, letting the out-breath go. Standing alone beneath a solitary pine, quickly the time passes. Overhead, the endless sky. Who can I call to join me on this path? And just carry on enjoying this opportunity to rest. In a moment, I'm going to ring the singing bowl 3 times, so carry on resting until the end of the 3rd sound. So take your time. I'm going to say thank you. I'm going to stop recording. I'm going to unmute you in a moment.